When your customers are making a choice, what's really going on in their heads? We like to think it's all about the features, the function, the price. But the real battle for a customer's heart and mind, well, it's fought on a much, much deeper level. It's all about tapping into the unseen forces of human emotion. So let's just ask the big question right up front. In a world where every product is pretty good, when performance is basically the same and the prices are all in the same ballpark, what makes someone reach for one box on the shelf instead of all the others? You see, functionality, that just gets you in the game. It rarely, if ever, helps you win. The answer is always found in understanding the emotional needs of your customer. And it's so important to get this distinction right. There are two kinds of needs. You've got your utilitarian needs. They're practical. You're thirsty, so you get a glass of water. Simple. Any emotion you feel, like relief, is just a byproduct. It's not the main goal. But with emotional needs, that's totally different. The feeling is the goal. The whole decision is driven by this fundamental human desire to either get some pleasure or to avoid some kind of pain. And right there, in that distinction, is where the world's most powerful brands have built their entire empires. So let's start with the first major strategic lever, creating positive feelings. I want you to think of this as the pull strategy. You're basically crafting this kind of emotional gravity that just pulls customers toward your brand, making them want to choose you over everyone else. The very first connection a customer has with a product is almost always sensory. Long before they're analyzing its performance or reading the specs, they see it, they touch it. This is all about the power of design, of aesthetics. It's this immediate, often subconscious emotional hit that can really define the entire experience from that moment on. Just think about how these brands do it. Apple's first iMac wasn't just another beige computer. Its fun, colorful design created this instant emotional bond. The iconic Coca-Cola bottle, it's just satisfying to look at and to hold. And car makers figured out a long time ago that we connect with cars that look like they have faces. The headlights are the eyes, the grille is the mouth. We can't help it. We anthropomorphize them, and we turn a machine into a kind of companion. Okay, another incredibly potent tool is nostalgia. This is all about connecting your brand to positive memories from the past. And this strategy is especially powerful during times of change or uncertainty, when people are really craving the comfort and security of something familiar. A perfect example, when Volkswagen relaunched the Beetle, they weren't just selling a car. Of course not. They were selling the whole youthful, rebellious spirit of the 60s and 70s. And that strategy worked like a charm, because nostalgia gives us a sense of continuity. It provides comfort by grounding these new experiences in emotions we already know and love. Now, what if you could link your product to one of the most powerful human emotions of all? That need to express love, to show commitment. It's a profound driver of our behavior. And one company, well, they managed to capture it masterfully. So get this, before World War II, only about 10% of engagement rings in the US even had diamonds. There was no deep-rooted tradition here. But De Beers changed everything with that one single line. They didn't sell a rock. They sold the idea of everlasting love, of permanence, of commitment. The real insight here? They weren't selling a product, they were selling a concept. They literally manufactured a tradition from scratch. And the result? Sales in the United States skyrocketed, increasing by nearly 100 times. I mean, that is the staggering power of successfully tying your product to a core human emotion. They didn't just grow a market, they pretty much created one out of thin air. But positive emotion isn't just about joy and love. One of the most valuable feelings you can deliver, especially in really high-stakes business decisions, is simply the reduction of anxiety. Delivering peace of mind, that is a powerful, powerful form of emotional value. This old saying, it pretty much became the key driver of IBM's dominance for decades. Was their technology always the absolute best? Not always. But choosing IBM was the safe choice. It was the easy choice to justify to your boss. And that peace of mind allowed them to command premium prices and maintain unbelievable loyalty. Because they weren't just selling computers, they were selling career insurance. But emotion, as we know, isn't just about attraction. If positive feelings pull customers in, the negative feelings can be used to push them toward a solution. This whole approach is about alleviating pain, mitigating risk, and basically removing fear. And this brings us to the fear trigger. The strategy is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly profound. You identify a risk that the customer isn't really paying attention to, or maybe you even invent one. You make them hyper aware of the negative consequences, creating this sense of unease. And then you present your product as the one and only way to make that bad feeling go away. Now, one of the all-time classic examples of this strategy comes from Listerine. Back in the early 20th century, it was actually a surgical antiseptic. Sales as a mouthwash were slow, mainly because most people just didn't think they needed one. So the company decided, well, we're just going to have to create that need. Their 4-step plan was pure genius. First, you've got this underperforming product. Second, they took a common issue, bad breath, and gave it this scary, official-sounding medical name, halitosis. Third, their ad campaigns focused relentlessly on the fear of social failure that this new condition would cause. And the result? A 10-fold increase in revenue. It was incredible. This line right here, this was the emotional core of their whole campaign. The ads told these sad stories of lovely young women who just couldn't find husbands because of a problem they didn't even know they had. It made the fear of social and romantic rejection feel so real, so palpable. They weren't selling mouthwash. They were selling a solution to loneliness. Now, you might be thinking this playbook of leveraging emotion is some kind of historical artifact, but it has simply evolved. The core principles that sold Listerine 100 years ago are the very same ones being used in digital marketing right now, and often with even greater precision. The modern fear trigger, of course, often takes the form of FOMO, the fear of missing out. Just think about what that means. It's that anxiety you get that other people are having better experiences or they're getting better deals. This feeling is just amplified in our hyper-connected world, and it is a powerful, powerful motivator. It's the engine behind limited time offers, those countdown timers you see on shopping carts, and exclusive access events. It pushes us to buy, not just because we want the thing, but because we fear the regret of not acting. So here's the crucial takeaway. Functional benefits, they're just the price of admission. The real work, the work that wins, is emotional. Positive emotions like joy, nostalgia, and peace of mind, they pull customers in, building attraction and loyalty. And negative emotions like fear and anxiety, they push customers to act, creating urgency. The goal for any great brand is to stop competing on features and start owning a specific, powerful emotional territory. Which brings us to one final, really critical question. It's simple to ask, but believe me, the answer defines absolutely everything. When a customer thinks of your brand, what is the single dominant emotion they feel? Is it security? Is it excitement? A sense of belonging? Because whatever that feeling is, that's your real brand.